Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Horror Show. Show dissects, mutilates, dismembers, and butchers all of your favorite and not so favorite horror movies and other cult classics. I'm Sean.
I'm Joe.
Hello, Joe.
What's going on?
Nothing. Recording this a little late. Joe's still sick, but he's muscling through.
Took me out.
Flu's the fucking worst, man.
Still coughing up a lung, so
Were you
might be able to do a lot.
Were you both ends?
Yeah.
It's the fucking worst. That's like literally the worst feeling. It is one of the most vulnerable. Me and producer Lexi talked about really the most vulnerable is probably the airport bathroom.
Dude, that is a lesson ideal. That although I do think being stomach sick on a train is a little worse.
Ooh, no, that's way worse. Wait, how come trains are big and they have a lot of room? Why do they have shittier bathrooms in airplanes?
You think they're shittier? Because
yeah,
Metro North has pretty spacious bathrooms.
Yeah, but there's still like no water in it.
There is no water. Well, I mean, it's a moving train, but yeah.
But like it's big enough. Like let's figure something out. Like
I actually do agree. Like even the sink afterwards, you're like, how the fuck?
It's right. It's fucking horrifying. And then that train, for those of you who don't know, it's a train from Connecticut to New York City. Basically, it's how people in Connecticut get to New York City most of the time. And so it's like a 2-hour train ride, but it runs till it runs till midnight. That's the last train out of New York City. So then you're on the train till like 1, 2 in the morning.
Yep.
That's a scary fucking bathroom at that time.
Well, the craziest thing about it is that you could be sitting in one of those seats next to that bathroom and never see anybody use it. But as soon as you go in and shut the door, somebody immediately knocks on it. It's inevitable, and it's crazy.
Yeah. And then you get out and they're just standing outside the door.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey man, fucking go sit at your fucking seat. Fucking relax. And then if it's
the next cart. You know?
Yeah, or that.
There's one every 2 cars.
Yeah. And also when it's a mess and somebody's waiting and then you have to do you have to make like the yikes face at them, like so they know you didn't fucking shit all over the seats.
I know exactly what happened in here.
Ooh. You don't want to go in there. It's not me though.
I was only in there for 25 minutes trying to power through.
A listener just tagged us in a picture of our shirts. And it was a shirt. It was the No More Room in Hell shirt. And he did it on Instagram and he tagged it with like the Adrienne Barbeau shitty porta potty memorial.
I think that was Dave.
Or something. Yeah. I was like, holy shit, that is so fucking funny. Like that is, I forgot all about that fucking story because we got to watch her walk out like mortified.
Probably the first time she's ever experienced that in her entire life.
How did we even get the intel that that's what had happened?
Oh, because I went into that bathroom.
Oh, that's right.
It wasn't a bathroom. It was the first con. What a way to start a show. It was, for those that don't know, it was the first con post-COVID. So like,
yeah,
it was the first time things were opening back up, but they had it entirely outside. And they only had porta potties for bathrooms, and the celebs had to use the same porta potties as everyone else. And somebody had to close the porta potty lid and shit on top of it for some unknown reason. And I had went in that bathroom because that's where her table was. Right, it was right next to it. And I went in and immediately walked out. I was like, "That is fucking vile. I have to find another porta potty." And as I walked out, Adrienne Barbeau got up from her seat and went in and did the same thing, just like the Homer Simpson, "Is your name Bart?" When he walks in, he turns around. She shut the door, opened it, and just walked back out. It was like pale as it goes.
It's fucking insane. Oh fuck. Yeah, so we'll get the the scat talk out of the way here.
It's these Paranormal Activity movies, man. Last year we did the first one, and I got sick like halfway through. I don't know if you remember. I
Oh no.
silent like for the whole second half. I thought I was gonna fucking vomit. These movies, I don't know.
They have an impact.
Yeah.
And before we get into Paranormal Activity 2, found footage February, Salem Horror Fest will be there. I don't know the day. I think it's like May 3rd. Head on over to our Instagram. We'll have all the information there. But get ready, Salem Horror Fest. We're back, baby. And got some surprises. Maybe. There's a maybe surprise. So we'll see. But get your tickets. Come on out. I don't know how it works, but follow them. And I don't know. Figure it out. Probably just show up. I want to shout out this my buddy here. He made this app called Consensus with a K. Consensus with a K. I want to give him a quick shout out because it's the fucking sickest app. If you use multiple like movie review sites like I do, it like links them all together. It's fucking genius. So like I use Tracked a lot and it automatically syncs to my Letterboxd, and it's awesome. And it's one stop. You rate it on Consensus and it goes to all your other sources. So shout out to that. Yeah, it's a good app. Anyway, that's that. I was gonna say we could do the Roddy Teas, the Rotten Tomatoes, but producer Lexi is missing. So docking her pay for this week. So no Roddy Teas. Although we should look at them. Because I am kind of curious about them.
Yeah, how about you guess? I'll pull it up right now.
All right. So Paranormal Activity 2. What I want to do one day is go through all of them. Dude, Rotten Tomatoes is fucking weird, and I feel like we have to go off of something else because I'm realizing some of the scores are fucked up. I'm doing like all the best movies of 2024, and I kind of based it on a bunch of different sources, but Rotten Tomatoes scores were one of them. If a movie doesn't get seen by anyone, it has like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Sure.
And it's like, oh, this is fucking bullshit. Because it's just like two random people on the internet that were like, this is the best movie I've ever seen. Fucking pissing me off. Anyway, Paranormal Activity 2, I'm going to go 32% critic, 42% audience.
Which one's the which one?
Oh yeah, now they changed
it. Yeah. Okay. 57% critic, 48% audience.
Okay, well, good for them. I do not feel this way about it. I kind of like this movie.
So I think my opinion might shock you. I actually think it's like really well written, like a cool way to make it a prequel and then tie it in with the first one, but also make it a standalone, like to set up the whole universe of it. I think they did a good job with that. That said, I'm not sure I'd ever be in a hurry to watch it again.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wanted to after I watched it, I was like, I want to watch all of these right now because I got jazzed up, baby. I was a big fan. Interesting though about what you're saying about the writing. So when they started this movie, there was no script for some reason. They just started.
Yeah, well, yeah, because the first, like, what are you supposed to do?
But imagine showing up to a movie and everyone's there and they're like, by the way, let's just fucking wing it. Like, and I guess the studio got wind of it and saw some of the early footage and was like, hey, hire a fucking writer or we're canceling this. Like, this is fucking nuts. Like, are you fucking serious? Like, they hated everything about it. And so
turns out scripts are essential to movies.
Can you figure that out? So they bring in Christopher Landon, who you might have heard about. He's doing some stuff. He's done Happy Death Day, Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, Happy Death Day to You, Freaky, and most recently he's involved in Hard Eyes, that Hard Eyes movie. Did he
Yeah.
write it? Yeah, he wrote that one. So good writer. I think all those movies have really good writing in them. They're well written. He comes in with a bunch of other people and they're like, hey, this fucking sucks again. They're like, this fucking script sucks. And then they're like, just let Chris Landon do it. And then he put it together, basically piecing what they already had shot with like this new script. And then it came out to this. And I was like, oh, you know what? Good writer. Good writer.
Did a good job.
Yeah. Yeah. So he did a good job on that. Also, when they let him write it, they were like, this is it. Like, if you don't write something good, this is fucking done. We're not making this fucking movie, which is hilarious to read about. The director of this one was Todd Williams, who didn't do much.
No.
He really didn't do much. And then Christopher Landon would then go on to also write 3 and 4 and the Mark ones and direct the marked ones. And yeah, he skipped Ghost Dimension, came back for Next of Kin to write that one. So he is the boy. He's the guy. He's the guy for this franchise. So shout out to Christopher Landon on this. So hopped into that way earlier than I thought. So now I got to go back up. So recap the first one. First one comes out in 2007, takes place in 2006 in San Diego. You got Katie and Mika. He buys a camera to document weird shit going on in the house. Katie always had feelings that she was haunted. They bring in a psychic, and that's when Mika's suddenly like, you're fucking nuts, which is weird because the whole time he's like, I think there's a ghost. She also reveals this started when they were kids. They stopped, the demons or whatever stopped after their home burned down. The psychic, they get a psychic, they get a demonologist, which cracks me up every time that I think about them hiring a demonologist. Mika fucks with the Ouija board, which pisses him off. You get the baby powder footprints in that. Leads to the attic where they find the burned up photo of Katie, which presumably is from a fire when they were kids. Demonologist is like, hey, I can't even handle this. You guys shouldn't fucking stay here. And they do. Mika finds out that another girl that lived there had the exact same situation as Katie. The demon attacks Katie, bites her. She starts acting weird and possessed. And the last thing we see in that first one is her tossing Mika around like a fucking rag doll. And just leaping into the camera at the end.
Yes.
Although there were multiple endings, including one where she kills herself. She like shoots herself in the head or something, I believe. Which audiences didn't love.
Yeah, and neither did the writer of part 2.
Yes.
Not the one they went with.
So that's where we left off in 1.
Real quick, we'll shout out to Stephen Cognetti, and people are giving us good feedback on our conversation with him. He made a great point about when he makes those movies. And again, I'm sorry if I'm talking super quietly. I'm just trying not to cough all over the microphone. He had said that he tries really hard to make it so that the audience never gets to a point where it's like, why are you not just leaving? Like, well, this just happened. Why did you not just leave? Is there any point in these movies where you would have left?
Yeah.
Yeah. Same here. Yeah.
Yes. I do think because he brought up that, and he also brought up the point of why are they holding a camera, and how, because he said like how hard that is to like, which I get, right, where it's like why the fuck are you filming this, right? I do think they did that. The aspect of not leaving is crazy, and the aspect of this dad putting in security footage and then refusing to review it.
Sean. Not only refusing, like getting undisputable proof that there's something there that's
Yeah.
not them, and be like,
Yes.
yeah, shut the fuck up about this ghost shit. Like at some
Physically
point, you have to be
attacking.
like, hey man, something weird's going on.
Well, I had a note a little later where I was like, fuck, because this dad is so fucking. At a point, it just gets funny because he's just like, will you guys just shut the fuck? They're like, hey, when all the cabinets burst open and shit goes everywhere,
Yeah,
just all at the same time, the kitchen explodes. And he's like, will you
that's
guys
relatively
just.
yeah.
Really?
Sorry, that's relatively early, and that would probably be my breaking point.
Yes.
I don't know, like I don't know if I would be like, hey, it's a ghost, but I'd be like, hey, this is unfit to live in. Like we have to get the fuck out of here.
And the dad is like, hey, you guys need to shut the fuck up about this ghost shit. And also I'm firing the nanny who's like, please, there's a ghost in the house. That stupid bitch. Fucking get her out of my house. And I had a note. I was like, oh my God, could you imagine if we could get your dad in a Paranormal Activity situation? Like, get him, like, your dad as a main character in Paranormal Activity, what that would look like? Because it would look pretty fucking close to this. If
I
you
do
were
agree.
like, if you were like, hey, dad, look at the footage of this demon dragging me through the halls and throwing me down the stairs, he'd be like, shut the fuck up. Why'd you do that?
My dad is very adamant against the fact that ghosts or aliens, for that matter, could possibly exist. Like even the possibility of it. If you say it to him, he becomes enraged.
He'd probably be more mad at the fact that you like maybe put a dent in the stairs. After the demon drags you down the stairs, he'd just be on the stairs every day checking them, being like, these are fucked. The stairs are absolutely fucked now.
Actually, now you say that, he would 100% fire a nanny for lighting sage inside his house. A fire hazard.
Wait, and I came up with a name for it too. It's going to be called Paranormal Activity, the Gabagool.
Yeah, that was my dad. Yeah.
An Italian dad just screaming at his family, being like, it's not fucking real. Everyone calm the fuck down. Shut the fuck up about the ghost.
Yeah, so maybe I take it back, because that is pretty realistic to how my dad would react.
Yeah.
Even giving him proof. Yeah.
That was the only thing that like kind of kept me at bay with this guy, because I was like, he is just a dad. Like, he is just like, we're not leaving the fucking house. Shut the fuck up. Like, dude, when the door slams on the girl and she's like, something close, and he's like, it's the fucking wind. And then when she shows him the video, because the whole time I'm like, just show him the fucking video.
Right.
And she does show him the video, and he's like, haven't you ever heard of a fucking cross breeze? The fucking windows are open. It blows the door shut. She's like, what the fuck are you saying?
I distinctly remember, like, when I was younger, asking my dad about aliens, and him becoming like, I don't know why he was so angry, like foaming at the mouth, be like, they're not fucking real. Don't believe that bullshit. And his whole reasoning was that he's never seen, so therefore they can't possibly exist.
Holy shit, that's fucking funny. So not the first sequel to Paranormal Activity 2. Not the first sequel to Paranormal Activity also, because there was Paranormal Activity 2 Tokyo Nights, a Japanese version of this that came out first, and it is canon. Takes place outside of the continuity of the main movies. It's thematically linked and occurs within the same universe. It does not, however, feature the demon Toby or any of the events or characters from the other Paranormal Activity movies. So sounds like it's not canon, but that's fine.
Yeah,
We can.
How could you call it that?
Hey, it has literally nothing to do with anything, but
Just the same name.
part of our story.
Yeah. That's like, I mean, that's like counting Fulci's Zombie as canon for
Right.
Dead. Yeah.
I would also love to see a rule that found footage movies stick to an hour and 20 minutes. I think that would be a good movie. This movie coming in at an hour 38, which is fine. But can you cut it? Can you cut 10 minutes out of this?
The answer is yes. There's a lot of, just a lot of shots of just rooms.
Dude, some days it'll be like night 4 and you're like watching, you're like, okay, getting ready, and nothing happens. Like literally, it's not, that's not like we saw pot, like actually nothing happens like a few nights. And it's like, hey, I think we can cut some of this out. I think we get it.
The viewer does not need to see that.
We understand it's calm and peaceful right now. We don't need to know. It's noted. Noted. So yeah, there you go. So the first one was directed and edited and produced by Oren Peli, who goes full hands off for the rest of the series too on this one. So there you go. Also, they claimed Brian De Palma was an early candidate to direct this.
Really?
Hey, I'm realizing that just because people say that, it just means like, hey, we mean you could make a movie.
Yeah, somebody was like, hey, that'd be cool if Brian De Palma directed that.
Yeah.
And someone else was like, yeah. And then, of course, they're like, hey, we don't know who to contact.
Like me and you could write a movie and be like, we wanted Spielberg to direct this. That's who we had in mind, but he turned it down. Like, yeah, no shit. Like, can we stop with that shit? Like, it counts if they sign on and then leave. Then you could be like, he was supposed to direct it,
agreed.
but then had something to do. This whole like, well, they were eyeing Steven Spielberg to direct Paranormal Activity 4. Hey, okay, just stop it. Just fucking stop it. I already talked about the script. In a special promotion set up by film producers, participants had a chance to win free movie tickets if they were in the top 20 cities to demand the film, which is very odd. I guess they had no hope for this fucking thing.
Which is weird because this came out during the sequel age. Right?
Yeah.
It was 2010, and the first one was such a big hit and was immediately put into the pop culture lexicon.
Yeah. Yeah. And it ended up breaking the record for biggest midnight gross for an R-rated film with 6.3 million, beating The Watchmen. So, and broke the record for biggest opening for a horror movie of all time on its opening day. Paranormal Activity placed 2. Placed 1 at the box office, making $20 million on a $3 million budget. The total box office was 177.5 million. That's fucking nuts.
They made bank.
That's fucking crazy. This franchise had a grasp for a while.
It did. It was hot.
Yeah. So this movie, I had forgotten all about it. And I was like, well, where do we go from here? Because I watched the recap of 1. It's like, how do you continue this? Like, what the fuck are we doing? It takes place 2 months before the first one.
Yes.
First one takes place in October 2006. So this one takes place August 2006. Yep. And it's just so weird that it took place in October. I don't think there's even a reference to Halloween in that first one either, which is kind of weird, but whatever. And this one is focusing on Christy, Katie's sister, Katie being the main woman from the first one. They just had a baby, and you got Dan, Christy's husband. You got Allie, Dan's daughter from another marriage. You got Katie, Mika, they're both in it. And Martine, the nanny. Martine is the fucking hero of this fucking movie. And if I'm her, I'm telling Dan to go fuck himself when he calls me back. It's like, I'm so sorry. Get the fuck out of here. Dude, and Dan's reaction when he's like, oh my God, what have I done? What? I actually didn't know what he was talking about. He's like, I fucking fired her. Like, what? Yeah, you fucking did, fucking lunatic. So that's the setup for this one. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. We are back. So Chrissy just had a baby. Katie and Mika show up to check out the baby. We get some very basic family shit. When the found footage cuts out and comes back to the house, it's been destroyed. They think it was a break-in. Nothing was stolen except the necklace from her sister. And due to that break-in, they get a full security system. Everything when all this happened, I was like, oh, this fucking rocks. Because I was really worried about the camcorder. Because I was like, okay, it makes sense. They have a baby, right? So
Right.
capturing all those first moments, I was like, okay, that's good. But how do you convince me that you're carrying it in the pool and shit? And so they intertwine this security footage, which is a fucking A+ move, with the daughter using the handy cam and the family using the handy cam to capture the baby's like first moments and all of that. So I was like, that's pretty cool. And I also like that they build in Mika's obsession with the camera in this one.
Yes.
Because when you open in the first one, he's bought a new camera and she's like, what the fuck are you doing? And in this one, he sees the camera and is like, whoa, what the fuck is that? And he like,
It's a great touch.
like, yeah, I love that. I really like that. So you get that. You get the security
Although I would
system.
argue 2006 might be a little too late to be that blown away by a
The
fucking
video
camcorder.
camera. Yeah, I know. But it was on its last legs. Because 2004, I was a senior. Yeah, 2006 is a little weird time for it. Because I feel like at the end of our high school days. No, I guess people were still using them. Remember remember how many people had camcorders? Because we were filming insane shit.
Right. Yeah. We
That
all
was
had 'em.
fucking weird. That's crazy
Yeah.
that we all had camcorders. You can't find a fucking camcorder anymore.
I know.
I'm learning that
You
with
don't
like,
need it.
yeah, I'm learning that with the new setup we're doing with the show. And I was like, don't they sell camcorders? They don't. They fucking don't. There's like 4 on the market. It's fucking crazy. But yeah, so a lot of basic family shit here. Just footage of them doing stuff around the house. Nothing particularly interesting. Capturing child milestones and things like that. The timeline though is very weird because this baby is like standing up and walking at points, and I'm like, hey, how much time has gone by? And then I was like, wait, it's only been 2 months. I get no 2 months. They can't walk at 2 months.
Absolutely not.
Can they even stand up?
No.
No. Okay, so that's fucking nuts because this baby's got a full head of hair, fucking standing up in his crib, climbing out of his fucking crib. First night, night 1, August 7th, 2006. Nothing happens. We see Martine blessing things. The dog's panting and looking weird, and I do like adding the dog to it too a little bit. But again, it's one of those things where if like my dog was acting that weird on top of everything else, that would probably be like a bigger sign
Big
to
red
me.
flag. Yeah.
Because like they just have those weird scent. Like if I wake up and my dog's barking at a wall, just staring out a window, barking, I'm gonna be like, hey, I think we gotta fucking go.
Yeah.
I saw a weird thing on Instagram. It was like a true crime thing, and it reminded me of this. Have you? I don't know anything about the case, like, because I don't. And I've been thinking about this for now over a week, and I was like, nah, why bother looking it up and giving details? Some dude was like living in a family's house while threatening the daughter. Do you know about that one?
I don't.
He was like living in their basement, and like the girl would be like, I saw somebody, like I saw somebody, and I forget exactly what happened, but like the house was trashed and there was like writings on the wall and shit. It's like, I'm watching you and all this shit. And he would like stand outside the window, and they freaked out and they left the house. They were like, we're gone, which to our point is like, they were like, this is fucking weird. They leave. And then they finally come back after a while. And as they pull in the driveway, the girl's like, dude, there's somebody in my fucking bedroom. Like I just saw a guy standing in my fucking bedroom. And they're like, get the fuck out of here. So they call the police. The police do a sweep and they find this dude who was obsessed with her living in the fucking house.
Jesus.
And he had like killed like his teachers or his family or something, and was like stalking her by living in the house that she lived in.
That's nuts.
It was in like Massachusetts or something. But anyway, I was thinking about that with this movie because I was like, hey, yeah, it might not be ghosts, but if like shit is happening, get the fuck out, because there's probably a fucking teenage boy living in your basement without your knowledge. Fucking crazy. Anyway, so night one, not a lot going on there. Martine starts explaining that she was getting rid of the bad spirits, but keeping the good ones. The baby is now 17 years old. The daughter and the dad, they're laughing because they put a fucking cephalopod in their toilet. There's like a giant bug in the toilet. And then they're blaming the nanny for that. Or wait, was it a? Oh yeah, it was a bug, because I thought they were talking about shit in the toilet. Do you remember that scene?
Yes, I do.
Because the girl's like, holy fuck, who did this to the toilet? And I was like, dude, what the fuck? And then dad came in and was like, oh, I had to be fucking Martine. And I'm like, this is fucking an out of control conversation, talking about your nanny taking a shit and leaving it in the bathroom. Turns out it's a bug. It's a bug. Night two, nothing happens. The next day, Mika shows up, and we get this note that this is 60 days before the death of Mika. And that day we get some footsteps and Christy walking around, kind of scoping things out. Night three, I don't think anything actually happens here, but the baby's standing up. There might have been some creepy music playing in the background. I couldn't really tell, which is probably a bad sign. So, and I had a note here. Stop me if you've heard this one before, that nothing is happening in a Paranormal Activity movie. But again, I like that. I like the cuts to like the home videos that they do, even though they're truly meaningless. It's a cool touch to like go between the two.
Yeah.
Night four, we get some weird growls and rumbling. There's some cool like shadow work going on too, where there's so much stuff in the baby's room, so you're like looking at all of these shadows. And I'll say that. And the dog's barking at the vent. I'll say that what the thing I like about the shadow and stuff is, I think, did you get scared in this at all? Like, did you get a jump scare at all?
The kitchen scene.
There was, I think, 3 scenes that got me on this, and I was like, holy fuck. And it's the guy that shot it, whoever that was, did an awesome job of distracting you, like pulling your attention one way where you're like, I know what's gonna fucking happen, and then something else happens.
Yeah.
And they also did a good job, which, and I'm probably wrong about this, but I was like, how many times has that happened? 2 of their jump scares were sound based.
Right.
Because it's such a quiet movie, and then it just like boom, and you're just like, holy, and the sound gets you, not the fucking action in the scene. It's just like these crazy noises. But they did a good job. There's a ton of windows in it, tons of mirrors, tons of shadows, items being moved in the room, and not like as a ghost, but like the diaper pail moves at one point in the movie, and you're like, it just like throws you off. And I'm actually curious,
or the pool cleaner, whatever that was.
And that ended up being like nothing, right?
Did they not circle back to that?
They circle back to it because they look at footage and the pool cleaner comes up and out.
Dude, it's like anthropomorphic, yeah.
But it didn't look like if you were going to do a demon, you would think it would look like somebody grabbed the hose and like threw it.
Right.
But it's just like slowly going up and out. Yeah. I think it is just, dude, and speaking of that fucking pool, the dad just trying to make his postpartum wife even more miserable by somehow building rockets to the bottom of the pool cleaner to launch it out of the water to scare her. Fucking most insane thing I've ever seen. Is so confused why she's upset.
Such dedication to annoy your spouse.
After she just gave birth. He's like, I don't know why you're so upset. That was fucking funny. Which is almost exactly what he says. He's like, you gotta admit that's the funniest thing. And she's like, not really. Because at this point, she's the only one that's like, hey, there's weird shit going on.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, that night, Martine is going around the house looking for something. Like she knows it's there. You get a giant bang, dogs barking, kids crying, killing my fucking brain. Just, I hate that shit. Just so much fucking noise happening. Martine goes around burning sage with the baby, and the parents get pissed at her, yelling at her. And then they fucking fire her.
Yes.
And she's pleading with them.
For the sage, for lighting the sage in the house.
For lighting sage in the house. She's like, the guy's like, that's not good for the baby. It's not good for anybody to be breathing that in. I kind of get the baby, but also she's like fucking wafting her. It's not like the house was filled with smoke.
Right. She wasn't even in the baby's room when he caught her.
Well, she was holding the baby.
Oh, okay.
But when the fucking kitchen catches on fire and fills the house with smoke, he's just like, you fucking morons. Probably way worse. Smoke to a nail. But what can you do? So they fire. Kind of bullshit. The baby is constantly looking at things too, all over the room, instead of his mom. I actually like that scene because she's, again, the handy cam works here because she's like trying to get the baby to talk on camera or even just pay attention to the camera, and the baby's like looking away and not at her.
Yes.
Which it was so weird because all I could think about in that scene, I was just more distracted at thinking about what the person behind the camera was doing. Because they were probably just like, ooh, like jingling fucking keys or something. It's all I could think about because the baby
I had the
was
same
just
thought
like,
of how because the baby was invested everywhere but that camera.
yeah, 100%. Was like not. Yeah. Then the dad shows off the night vision on the camera, just so we know that's a thing. He just randomly turns it on and is like, check out this. Daughter's like, hey, you fired Martine, you piece of shit. Do you remember?
This guy is the most dad of all time.
Oh, like super, like beyond. And at first, he's kind of like a corny movie portrayal of a dad because he's like, this is where we're going to watch the Chargers play. And I was like, ugh, like shitty writing for dad. And then he just turns into a straight dad where he's just like, hey, check out this sick feature on the fucking camcorder. And everyone's like, will you fucking leave me alone?
Imagine trying to show your teenage daughter that at any point in time.
How mad they would fucking be. Do you remember the scandal of the Sony camcorder with the night vision that you could like see through shirts? It had like X-ray vision.
I do not.
Yeah, it was one of those. I was like super young, but it was like one of the first consumer grade camcorders with night vision. And somehow they claimed it could see through like light fabric. It would somehow penetrate it and you could see women's breasts. And all I could think about at that time was like, how do I get my dad to buy one of these cameras? How do we get this fucking camera?
Were you successful?
No. I didn't. I was not even gonna be. I'm not gonna. My dad would have fucking thrown me outside if I was like, "Can you buy a camcorder?" You fucking killed me. What are you fucking doing? And that was night 5, August 11th, my sister's birthday.
Okay.
Next night, August 14th, my birthday. Let's see what happens here. Christy keeps checking the windows when she hears sounds. Also, a door opens up behind her. There is a giant bang on the window, but it turns out to be a bird.
The old fake out.
Yeah. And another classic dad move of the dad being like, let's grill it up. Like threatening to throw it on the barbecue. And everyone being like, don't do it. Night 10, August 16th. You got pots falling. And Christy becomes actually afraid at this point. And the firing of Martine is now kind of setting up a weird dynamic because you don't feel bad for them anymore. You know, it created this weird, to me at least. I was not like, now this is getting intensified, and I'm like, yeah, well, fuck you guys. Like, you fired Martine. Like, she could have helped this, and you guys are fucking assholes. Like, I didn't feel bad for the family at this point.
Okay.
You know, I don't know.
It
It
wasn't
just
that
felt like
extreme, I don't think. But...
I just was like, what are you doing? Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, next day, Dan jokes with Mika about the ghosts in the house. And this is kind of weird and fucks with the continuity because in the first one, he reveals to Mika that there is shit going on in the house.
Yeah.
But then in the second one, Mika obviously isn't like, hey, remember this shit happening at your sister's house?
That I was going to bring that up to you as well. Like, I know that they're kind of coinciding with each other at the same time at some point in this, but no, because it's August. Yeah, you're right. You would think you're actually 100% right. Why would Mika and his sister and his wife not be like, hey, this sounds really similar to exactly what's going on with your sister?
Yeah.
And then when the wife is like, hey, I think I was haunted since I was a kid, they would just be like, yeah, well, you are, because it's also happening to your sister.
Right. And they do. I honestly kind of forget how this movie ends because I know how it ends, but I guess they explain it away. I think they come up with an explanation for it, but again, I mean, you're working with so little after the first one where you're like, how do we fucking walk our way through this fucking thing with this ending of the first one? How do we even tie this shit together? I could see it being hard, but they do explain it, I guess, a little bit later. I'll wait till we get there though. But anyway, Katie also sort of reveals her childhood demon thing at this point. So again, it's not news, and it felt like it was breaking news in Tamika in the first one, but in this one also Katie's like, hey, I remember that demon when we were kids. That was fucking weird. Night 11, August 17th, my nephew's birthday.
Getting the whole family down.
Yeah, my mom's birthday was missed August 12th, but that's all right. Dog is now guarding the baby's room, which again, I do love that. I love that. You ever see those like dog baby videos on Instagram? Or like the dogs act weird around new babies, like when they bring a baby home. Have you ever seen those?
I have not.
It scares me. It fucking scares me because the dogs act very odd. They act very odd. They're skittish, and they like put the baby's face next to the dog, and the dog's like. And in reality, everyone's like, "That's so sweet." Like the dog wants to meet the baby, but in my head, I'm like, "Fuck!" I don't know. Put a dog in a corner, some weird shit's gonna go down.
What do you mean? Like, you think it's gonna
bite? I don't know, man. You don't know what a dog will do. Yeah.
Right.
How are cats with babies? You had a cat before you had a baby, right?
I did, yeah. I mean, it was kind of the same thing. I think it was just she was more confused as to like what this thing is that's now in the house and making a lot of noise. She would always just like her ears would perk up, be like, "What the hell? What the fuck is that?"
Your peaceful days are fucking done.
Which is funny because Shay was, just over a year when Logan was born, and I remember the first night Logan was brought home because Shay also had peaceful days, and I distinctly remember the first time Logan cried in the middle of the night. Shay shot up in bed and was like, "What's that? Like, what is that noise?"
That's gonna be a fucking trip, actually. James always talks about how he wished he had a sibling. For years, he's talked about it, and he's like, I would love a baby brother. I was like, dude, I'm telling you right now, you wouldn't at this age. You would be fucking so fucking mad waking up like 3 times a night because of this thing's crying. Like, trust me. You got to do it when they're young. Anyway, dog's guarding the baby. The kitchen stove lights a pan on fire. I don't know. But anyway, the dad just screams at the daughter, of course. And just like, you fucking idiot. You burned the pan. Which again, just look at the fucking camera.
That expensive system you just
Yeah.
put in. Yeah.
And even as a dad, I think that would be your first step to be like, I'm gonna fucking prove how
Yeah,
stupid you are.
Yeah. just to hammer down your point that
Yeah.
you're inept. Yeah. I agree.
You'd be like, you wouldn't even think. You'd be like, get your ass in here. We're gonna watch this. I'm gonna show you how stupid you are. It would be nothing, and you'd be like, oh. Well, how'd you do that?
That is the next step of logic.
Well, you had to do something.
How did you alter the videotapes?
Oh, dude, one of my favorite things. I know it's coming up, but when the dad burns himself in the hot tub, and he immediately runs into the daughter and he's like, "You fucking idiot! What'd you do to the fucking temperature?" And she's like, "Hey, I think it only goes up so fucking high."
Yeah, that's exactly what she says. Yeah.
I fucking love that. I think that might have been when I wrote down the comment about your dad.
Rocks. Yeah, that scene rocks because that guy jumps into the hot tub and is like burned head to toe. And also the wife and the daughter know things like are not normal in the house.
Yeah.
And they're also laughing at the fact that he has to ice his balls now because he burned.
I think that was the moment where I thought about your dad, because it was just so that the just coming in and being like, you fucking, why the fuck didn't you crank the temperature up? And then even when you're like, hey, there's a fucking safety feature on that thing. Like, that doesn't happen. Like, I think the wife and the daughter both are like, hey, that's not a thing that happens. And he was like, bah! And just like storms away. I was like, holy shit. Night 12. Oh, wait, is that the end of that night? I think. Oh, no, we get, what else do we get? The kitchen stove lights on fire. The pool cleaner climbing out on its own. And then not fun. I don't know, a touching aspect of this, which I kind of wish they built up a little bit more, because I thought that would have been cool, was the daughter, her mom died, and that's why her dad is remarrying Christy, or has remarried Christy. When she starts being like, this is a fucking ghost, like, this is for sure something in the house. And she reveals at one point where she's like, I'm excited about the ghosts. And the dad or Christy's like, why? And she's like, well, like, what if it's mom? Like, what if it's a good ghost and it's mom? And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, that's like the sweetest, saddest fucking thing I ever heard. And it does, they do talk about it a little bit more at some points, but it felt like it could have been a more built-in thing where like the demon earns her trust or something like that. Also, can we talk about this fucking demon's name, Toby?
Shittiest demon name, yeah.
Dude, wait. I have to get its full name, because it's such a stupid name. It's Toby is its name for short. Its full name is Asmodeus from the Book of Tobit. So they call him Toby.
That's actually real funny.
When I saw it, I could not believe it. Asmodeus of the Book of Tobit, colloquially referred to as the demon and Toby. The fucking name killed me. I read that somewhere and I was like, what the fuck? That can't be fucking real. Also,
I'm looking it up now. It's a real shit from the book, the real Bible's Book of Tobit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Asmodeus is a demon who prevents Sarah from marrying by killing her suitors on their wedding nights.
Oh, well, glad they kept with the lore on this one.
Calling him Toby.
It's like when they called Jaws Bruce. Like, how did that name start?
I don't know.
Because I don't think that's not something they actually fucking say. Richard Dreyfuss being like, Bruce is here. Bruce is back. Night 12, August 18th. My grandfather's birthday.
I won't say it.
They're all fucking. Wait, and I think it's what
Christmas break.
I think that's what it is, right? December. Yeah, it's Christmas. Yeah, or like yeah, right before Christmas.
Yeah.
That Thanksgiving hangover, baby.
I think it's Thanksgiving break. Yeah. Because shave was September, and the shoes for sure Christmas break.
Just filled with fucking turkey and getting weird with it. All the jokes we've made about people fucking with like a belly full of food, and turns out it's my whole family.
It's your whole family lineage, yeah.
Just born with just conceived with a belly full of food. That's having fucking, what do they call it? The gobbler sandwiches, the fucking leftovers. I'm fucking proud of my family. Good job, guys. Anyway. That night, kids' room. I think that's the last birthday. That's the last birthday too. Anyway, kids' room. Dogs barking at the window. Next day, Dan somehow puts a rocket on the pool cleaners to fuck with his wife, as we talked about. And then that's when Dan jumps in the hot tub and gets boiled alive and goes in and starts screaming at him. Dan and Christy go out for the night and leave the daughter to watch the baby. They finally use the window here, but it's just her boyfriend banging on it. And they start using the Ouija board, which is now concrete. This is the way to piss old Asmodeus Toby off. This is what really fucking gets him going. Asmodeus is also your dad. Finding out they're using a Ouija board in the house, just becoming furious. If you mention aliens or a Ouija board, he just loses his fucking mind. He's like, fuck this.
It's true.
They start using the Ouija board. Puss. Oh, it spells pussy. It's the line. Which is ridiculous. Almost as ridiculous as that girl laughing for 17 minutes straight. And being like, fucking pussy. And then they do it again, and this time it's moving on its own. And I could not hear what it spelled out. It was like H something NT, and then it's cut off. I don't know what that is. It's not Toby. Hunt?
Mike Hunt, the other
Mike, dude, that would be fucking amazing. I was thinking about because what prank call did I do to James the other day? I did one of the like Mo prank calls, and I was like, man, what a weird time to live in, where everyone was doing the same prank calls, calling in places, being like Mike Hunt. What was the other? Oh fuck! What are the other ones? Mike Rocks. Amanda Hug and Kiss was Amanda Hug and Kiss was the one I did to James the other day. Oh, Amanda Hug and Kiss. Fucking worst fucking jokes. Oh, the worst one is your refrigerator running.
That's the best one. Better go catch it.
I actually might take that back. I might. People checking their refrigerators.
I mean, it's the best because in order for it to work, somebody has to go like buy into it.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Which maybe at that point, with the epidemic of that prank call, we probably should have taken better measures to safeguard the elderly, especially when the internet came out. We should have been like, hey, you know what? Remember when we could trick the elderly with asking them if their refrigerator was, calling them blindly and being like, hey, is your refrigerator running? And they would check it from an unknown caller. Even if you said this is Maytag, can you check if your refrigerator is running? It's like, hey, we just invented this thing called the internet. I don't think we should give them access to that. They're good. They're going to give away their credit cards and their social security numbers. 100%. We need to lock this down immediately. We didn't. Anyway.
What did you say it's spelled? HNT?
It was H blank N T.
So the son's name is Hunter. So spelling the baby.
Oh, well, somebody should have been fucking alarmed by that. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, cool. Well, that honestly makes me feel better because that honestly drove me nuts the entire movie. That I could not stop fixating on that. So, anyway, she puts the baby to bed. She falls asleep. While she's sleeping on the couch, TV static happens. Sounds get so loud it wakes her up. She finds the front door. See, this is where it is. This is everything else is pretty bad. You'd probably stick around, but when you start finding doors open, is when you leave just for the pure safety of everybody.
Correct.
Just because it might be a murderer, like that's.
Dude, it could be anything, even if it's not malicious. Like there's something structurally wrong with your house.
Right.
Probably leave. Yeah.
And once again, hey, Dad, check the fucking video camera.
Yeah.
But he'd probably also say the wind opened it too. So, what does it fucking matter? Huge bang after she closes it. She goes outside to check on it, and the door slams and locks behind her. Dogs growling. We see her locked out in the back too. You hear big booms in the house and the baby being slowly pulled across the bed and then straight up lifted and again, the fucking security camera. Like, you would just be like, I'm going to prove to you how big of an idiot you are.
Right.
Watching your baby being dangled above the bed. It's fucking nuts. But hey, what do you know? Baby's up on its own though, walking around the house because it's a month and a half old. Safely, dude, when it starts walking to the stairs, but he gets down the stairs safely, thankfully. And it's just wandering around the house. You get some children music playing. The basement door opens, which is fucking terrifying. But the parents finally come home and they find the baby. They find no Allie. She's outside. She comes screaming in, and the dad is so fucking mad. And that's when he specifically says, I don't want to hear any more of this haunted house crap. Just like, just even imagine seeing your kid that fucking scared.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like I was telling you today, James kind of like faked sick today, got out of school. And I was like, hey, you're not fucking sick. And he was like, oh, no, I am. When you see your kid sick or fucking scared, you just are like, oh shit. Like, right. This is fucking real. Like, this is some real shit. If your daughter's crying, being like, Dad, you'd be like, okay, well, like something has to change. Like, we have.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Just for my own fucking headaches. I don't want to fucking listen to this anymore. All right, let's take our last break. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. Anyway, so Dad doesn't pull the footage yet. I like that he pulled the footage of the pool cleaner earlier in the movie. Right. But not the event that potentially is putting his family at in harm's way. That he's like, get out of here. But the pool cleaner being on the patio, he was like, we gotta fucking check this out.
It's a great point.
Gotta find out what's happening with the pool cleaner. Which again, the most dad thing to do. Because if you're asking him to check it, that's when they're like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, agree. Yeah.
But when he's like, where did my fucking hammer go? I'm going to go through impossible lengths to figure out who moved my fucking hammer. Who moved the fucking pool cleaner? I'm going to fucking find out who did this. Oh, man. Dads. There's something. Like, I hate that I'm turning into one. But anyway, Allie confides in her camcorder that she's having these bizarre nightmares. A guy standing at the foot of her bed watching her. She becomes the demonologist here, explaining demons to her boyfriend. She gets deep into the demon lore. If a demon makes a deal, it will take the soul of the firstborn male.
Yeah. And Hunter is the firstborn male on Christy's side of the family since the 1930s.
Crazy fact. I also love that they use the term, and I feel like we might have actually talked about this in the first one because it seemed so familiar. I love that they used the term, like they were, when she was reading about the demons, it had like legal financial terms. It was like, if the terms of the defaulter are not met, this demon is an accountant. Hey, you've defaulted on your fucking baby loan, lady.
They should hire Amadeus for the wiffle ball rules for 2025.
Dude, hey, I haven't been counting the beans here. Somebody didn't pay their fucking dues at the beginning of the year for field maintenance. It took 7 people to plant grass seed in a 100 square feet box. Fucking ridiculous. You know, probably not talk about it on this episode, but anyway, I'd recently messaged you being like, I forgot what I said, but it was something about that crew and how we talk about them. And you said that you made a joke and you were like, we talk about them every episode. And recently I like was going through a bunch of old episodes and I was like, oh my God, I think we do bring them up. We do say something disparaging about Buzz every single fucking episode. Like, there's no way to avoid. Like, if they decide to start listening, like, that's gonna be rough.
It's not gonna go well.
It's not gonna go well. I feel like the first one they'll be like, "Oh yeah, it's kind of funny," but then like by their 7th episode, they're like, "Hey, man, they're just."
Are they making fun of us?
Which people might not know that would actually be their reaction. Even if we were like, I fucking hate this person, they'd be like, hey, Sean mad at us?
That's exactly what they would say.
Huh, that's weird.
Am I allowed to bring up that we watched or I watched recently Nosferatu?
Oh yeah, sure. Oh yeah.
And you had the you had the great point that somehow Buzz is very comparable to a centuries-old demon.
Dude, like unfathomable amount of like similarities in their behavior. And if you haven't seen it, just watch it. And you'd be like, no. People will be like, that's not no human in 2025 acts like Nosferatu. Hey, I got news for you. We know somebody.
Dude, acting like Nosferatu.
Writing fake contracts and being like, it is what it is.
Unintentionally. Also would be talking in that voice for some reason.
Dude, if he gets wind of this fucking movie, it's over for everyone.
We both agree that he would probably find Nosferatu a comedy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, unironically think it's just a straight up hilarious movie.
Dude, when they reveal, if he can even comprehend what he's talking about, but if he could figure out that Nosferatu wrote a fake contract and tricked him into signing it, like, he's gonna be fucking belly laughing. Signed away his wife by accident.
That's fucking funny.
I spit on myself. Anyway. She's a demonologist now. Thankfully, though, Allie does look at the security cameras and shows it to Dan, who you think in this moment is going to be like, oh, wow, you're right. Instead, is again furious and talks about the crosswind and how wind comes in from the back and blows out the door, closes doors. Night 17, August 23rd. We got 37 minutes left at this point. The pace is not ideal, but it wasn't dragging for me. I don't know. It felt like it was giving you enough.
I thought it was fine.
Yeah. Allie on the handy cam, hearing insane footsteps. And again, building in more reasons for them to be using a handy cam where Allie's like, I need to fucking, like, she's buying into this and she's going to film evidence because her asshole dad is just like, that's not real. Downstairs, one of the baby toys is going off by itself. Dude, has that ever happened to you?
So often, it's upstairs for me. Like, we have a finished attic, so we keep all the kids' toys up there. Especially when they were younger, they had those toys that had like the sing-songy things, and they'll just go off in the middle of the night. And sometimes they would like turn on and vibrate, so they would fall off the shelf.
Oh, that would fucking, dude, it is one of the scariest things. James had two things. One literally had a mind of its own, and it was Bowser's Castle, and it had a button on it that you had to press, and it would be like, and that thing would just go off randomly in the middle of the night. And it was like, what the fuck? Like, and anyone that's watched horror movies, I think at that point is just like, well, it's all over now. He also had this insane fucking dinosaur, this Dallas Mavericks like dinosaur that made noises, and that would go off in the middle of the night. I would just fucking break them because I was like, this, we can't have this in the house. Sorry, James. Sorry, bud. This has gotta go. Not gonna live with this. The Furby 2 was also awful. We got the Furbies came back for a minute when James was really young. Yeah. Got him a Furby. That motherfucker just talked all night, and I was just like, it's so fucking mad. I remember the night it happened, I just wrapped it in like the biggest fucking blankets and threw it in the closet. So then all night, and I thought that would work because I was so tired and I was woken up. I thought that would work, and then I was just up all night listening to like the muffled like I'm like fucking blow my brains out. Oh man. Allie though finally confides in Christy, who talks to Katie, and they compare it to the experiences they had as kids. Christy being like, hey, it might be starting again, and I don't remember anything because I was too young. I only remember that I was scared. Like, tell me more. And Katie, who in the second one, or in the first one, rather, is like, this happened to me as a kid, is like, hey, you're a fucking idiot. That was just mom. She was nuts. And if you let this bother you, and it thrives on fear, and if you let it bother you, it feeds it. So if you just ignore it and leave it alone, it goes away. And I think that is what they buy into at the end. I think they buy into, like, we're just going to ignore this without realizing it's like transferred houses somehow. They buy into this idea. Like, so I guess we assume that Mika and Katie are like, oh yeah, it was nothing because they're totally fine now.
Okay.
Because Christy starts pretending like everything's fine.
Right.
But again, you know, you'd still be like, hey, remember that time they told us that, and then started acting really fucking weird?
It would be the first thing brought up.
Yeah. Sure. And then remember every time we talked about it after that, they were like, nope, everything's perfect. Like sweating.
Clenched teeth. Yeah.
Sweating and shaking, being like, everything's fucking wonderful. The fucking dog is like grumbling. The next day, kitchen cabinets literally explode. Tea kettle starts going off. I'm just gone, man. I'm just fucking gone. It's not even an option. And Christy starts like picking things up, and you're like, dude, I'm just leaving everything. Yeah. I'm not even picking up the fucking mess. I'd also leave it to show fucking asshole Dan.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Allie comes home. with the dog and talks to Christy, who's like, hey, everything's great. And that's when things start getting a little more intense, where Allie's like, things are not great. Like, what aren't you telling me? And like you said, through clenched teeth, it's like, we can't talk about it. Okay. Night 19, we watched 3 hours of footage in fast speed, which is fun. Uh, basement door opens, dog looks in, gets scared away, appears to fight something. You hear a giant bang, and the dog goes down. Dan and Allie run downstairs, find the dog incapacitated but alive, thankfully. They bring the dog to the vet, leaving Christy all alone in the house. She goes around the house checking shit, including checking on the baby. But while she's in there, crazy jump scare.
Yes.
She goes in to check the baby and just whoom, and like pulled out her by her ankles, just falls flat on her face. Giant fucking bang. And she's dragged out of the room.
To the basement.
I thought this was, well, before the basement, I thought this was awesome because it drags her far down the hall, but she like gets up and like fucking is bolting to the baby's room, and then it gets her again, and you're like, right. Oh, that's fucking sick. And then it drags her down to the basement. Yeah, that's it. She's gone. Goodbye. After a couple hours, the door opens again, and Christy comes up very slowly, probably possessed.
Yes.
Next day, Dan acknowledges that there's something wrong with Christy, but is like, hey, you need to watch the fucking baby because I got work to do. And fucking leaves. It's fucking nuts. Your dog like just died and your wife is catatonic, and you're like, hey, works.
The last person you should have watching the baby at this point.
Yeah, the one that left the baby in the house. That, like, in your assumption, locked herself out of the house with a baby. Anyway, Allie starts hearing noises and opens the basement door to find scratches and blood with weird letters. She checks on Christy, who has a bite mark on her leg. And a cool look away that was pretty scary, where it like she moves and then looks back and fucking Christy's just fucking gone. And when she checks on the baby, it turns and Christy's just standing there, and I forget what she says, but it's just like, don't touch a baby. And she calls her dad crying, rightfully so.
Yes.
She thankfully goes in and reviews the footage herself, and finds the Christy footage, and she's begging and crying for her dad to watch it. She's like, please fucking watch it. And the dad still will not say whether he believes it or not.
Right.
He's like, oh. And she tried to, he finally says, she tried to warn me, but I wouldn't listen. And we get our fucking girl Martine back.
Me too.
Thank God.
Perform an exorcism.
To perform it. Right. You know who we should get to perform an exorcism?
The nanny we fired.
Oh, man. The dad tries to touch Christy with the cross. Giant growl. Christy tries to kill him. Power goes all the way out. And we're in night vision looking around. Shit in the house is just shattering. Everything's breaking, falling down. Everyone's trying to get out, but no one can see. Chandeliers swinging. The baby's missing. Allie is off with Martine because the dad was like, you guys get the fuck out of here. As the dad keeps looking for the baby in the basement, he sees a rat, which I'd probably leave the house for that. Also, if you were down there, all of this is happening, and you have a pretty good idea your wife might be a demon now, because she just tried to kill you, and a rat runs by you, I think I would die of a heart attack.
Probably your nerves would be, you'd be so on edge. Yeah.
That would be it. That would be the thing that killed me. Poor Toby would be like, what the fuck? I didn't even get to kill this fucking guy.
Foiled again by a rat.
Classic Toby. But he's fine. We see the camera fall though, and the baby is standing there. He goes to grab it, and when he gets it, the baby is gone. When he gets to the baby, because he can't see, and they hold you hostage here for like 10 seconds, and you just get so scared because you just don't know what's going to happen. But weirdly, very weirdly, the camera pans and we get Christy, who now has fucking piranha teeth, which was a little fucking weird to me. But
Sure.
anyway, Dan fights back though and hits her with that fucking fix, that fucking crucifix. Hits her with it,
Yes.
and we don't see any of it though. It's just all whatever. The camera's just on the floor. We don't even know what happens, honestly. It's just like we just hear the struggle and we see the baby. Then we see the lights in the house come back and Dan is tucking in Christy when we come back.
Which, like, at this point, take the baby and leave, right?
Oh, you're gone.
Putting the baby back to bed after all this?
Hey, get some shut
Are
up.
you fucking kidding me?
And also is like, you know what? Let's put the baby to bed and let's burn this photo of
my wife
and her sister. First things first, we burn this random photo. It's so fucking stupid.
Not calling like an ambulance. Like, your wife is, even if you don't believe she's possessed, something is seriously wrong.
Even if you wanted to continue ignoring everything, you would probably call your insurance company because your house is fucking destroyed. Anyway, and it just cuts to 3 weeks later. We see Katie show up asking about it, and Christy's like, nope, nothing happened. And Katie's like, oh, it's so weird. It's happening to me too. And then we cut straight into the beginning of Paranormal Activity 1, which was cool.
It was. I liked it.
It was, I like that also. Like just going full circle, including like a full first scene of the movie. Then we get prompts on the screen. Mika was killed October 8th, 2006. And then we get some more footage, October 9th, 2006. We hear baby crying, pool cleaners going, Dan's watching TV, and we see the bloody Katie walk in the background after the events of her killing Mika. And she breaks Dan's neck on the couch,
Yep.
which caught me off guard a little bit. Not that it was like scary by any means. It was just like, oh, all right, like breaking necks. Christy has the baby. Katie comes in, throws Christy just like she did Mika with like that forced touch. Takes the baby, who begins to laugh. Also, what made me crack up in this too, I actually laughed out loud, was when Katie walks away with the baby, they use the giant demon footsteps that you hear throughout the movie as she's walking.
Yes.
If I was in a movie and I watched that scene and they put that footage under my footsteps, I'd be like, get rid of that immediately. And we get the final text. Allie returned from a school trip and found the bodies of Christy and Daniel Ray on October 12th, 2006. Katie and Hunter's whereabouts remain unknown. The end.
Yes.
What a movie.
Not bad. I liked it more than I thought I would.
I really dug it. And I was like, if we had more weeks in found footage, we would have been canceling everything and just doing Paranormal Activity movies. So you are in luck, my friend. So that is Paranormal Activity 2. We'll do 3 next year, I guess. This Friday, live show, Creep. No, this Saturday. Sorry, Saturday.
Yeah.
The 22nd, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are doing Creep for found footage, wrapping up found footage with Creep. Join us, patreon.com/IHateHorror. We also got bonus episodes dropping on there. I'm going to do a new one this week. and excited for this live show. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So join us there. Again, patreon.com/IHateHorror. You can head on over to IHateHorror.com. Our merch store is still up, so check that out. And Instagram.com/IHateHorror, Facebook.com/IHateHorror. You can find us there. And again, Salem Horror Fest will be there May 3rd, I believe.
Yep.
Is it May 3rd? Okay.
Yep.
May 3rd, Saturday, May 3rd. We're going to tear up Salem. That'll be fun. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
May 3rd, the weather's going to be fucking perfect, hopefully.
It's cold as fuck, man.
Yeah, dude, it's freezing. I've been thinking about that, and it's just going to be chaos in the streets. And I think we're doing the live show with a movie, and then we're going to, I don't want to speak out of turn here. I think we're hosting something at Bit Bar after. I think we're potentially doing like trivia or something afterwards at Bit Bar. Producer Lexi's put this all together, which shout out to her for putting in the legwork on that. So, and that is it, everybody. Thank you all so much. Thanks to Joe. Thanks to producer Lexi. You can find her over at Cult of Craven. And thank you all for listening. Appreciate it. Subscribe, rate on iTunes, Spotify. Do what you got to do. And check out our YouTube page. You can watch the episodes there now that we're doing the video version. So check out our YouTube page. That's open to everyone now. So check that out. Subscribe on there too. And thanks again to Joe. And for Joe, this is Sean. Stay weird.
Thank you.
Adios.
Glass of red rum, cause I'm a gorehound, hellbound, or movie lover. Good and evil are just colors on the spectrum.